Alright, hello guys and welcome to my After Effects tutorial. In this tutorial I'm going to show you how to recreate the effects similar to the ones you saw in my short film The Dark Arts. Let's take a look at them. Alright, so in that you guys saw that the clip is of the main actress Chrissy shooting the Expelliarmus spell at Owen, and he uses the Protego spell to reflect it off. So we're going to start by having to open Premiere Pro CS6. Alright, so now that it's open, we're going to go to New Project. We're going to go, let's just title it Cast and Reflect. Alright, now this is the important part here. You have to make sure that Digital SLR is selected, 1080p, and then DSLR 1080p 24. Alright, that's okay. Let's leave it as sequence 1. Hit OK. Alright, so now that the program is open, we're going to minimize it. And now this is important. You're going to have to make sure that you downloaded the file called After Effects Tutorial. I will be giving it to you in the description below. So we're just going to open it up. In here, you're going to see that you have an original copy of the movie. We have the stock video. We have some stock footage. And then we have a copy of the After Effects spells. So we're going to minimize that again. And now we're going to move into Premiere Pro. Alright, so obviously we have no footage down here in the bottom left. So we're going to have to import. So we're going to right click, import. Once the import screen opens up, you're going to make sure that at the top here, the file called After Effects Tutorial is selected. Once in there, click on the file called stock footage and import the whole folder. Okay, so now that's in there, we can go in, open it up by double clicking, and we're going to find the footage titled stock footage.mov. We're going to drag it, drop it in the playlist. Alright, so now that it's in, we're going to go over top of it. Obviously you can see it doesn't fit the screen, so we're going to right click and we're going to find scale to frame size. Still doesn't fit quite enough, so we're going to double click the image and we're going to drag it till it fits. Now yes, this is going to make it look lower quality. That's because I gave a lower quality video. That way you guys can't send it to YouTube and claim that it's your own. Alright, so now that the footage is in, this is just something I always recommend. Every time I put in footage, I like to render it. I just feel like it saves me time and makes it easier during the editing process. Alright, so now that the rendering is done, let's play it. So now, we're going to right click. We're going to find the button that says Replace with After Effects Composition, and we're going to click it. Alright, so now that After Effects is open up, let's save it as Spells. I'm going to save it to my desktop. You can save it wherever you'd like. Alright, save. So now here's something neat. It's going to import the footage directly into After Effects for you. To start this, we're going to have to do the same thing as before. We're going to come over here to the left-hand side of the screen, to a selection called Project. In this part of the screen, we're going to right-click, Import File. We're going to go back into that file I gave you, called After Effects Tutorial. We're going to go Stock Footage, and we're going to open up that whole file. Inside this file, you'll find everything you'll need to use. We're going to scroll along. Let's go 12 seconds. That way you can see the wand is sort of level. We're going to pretend like the spell is starting about there. Then we're going to come over to the right hand side of the screen to Effects and Presets, and we're going to go down to Generate. Once Generate is open, we're going to come down here to CC Light Rays, and we're going to drag and drop. Normally it pops up over somewhere on the left hand side of the video. We're going to drag it all the way over to roughly about where we think the end of the wand is. As you see right now, it looks pretty cheesy. It's like reflecting a light back towards her face. So to get rid of that and create something that we want, we're going to come over to the left hand side to the Effects Control panel, and we're going to click Color from Source, which is in this general area here, and we're going to deselect it. Alright, now we have a bright white ball of light. Obviously, you saw in the video, it wasn't a bright white ball of light. We had a purple color. So we're going to change it to, let's be fun with it and change it to the same color. All right. So now this is the difficult part because it can be hard finding a color that really pops out on a white background like this. We're going to make sure it's there. All right. So now that we're at the beginning of this, let's bring it back one frame. Down to here. Okay. So we're down at the end of the wand now again. Let's say this is the beginning. So we're going to click and keyframe all of these. So we're going to keyframe intensity, center, radius, and warp softness. And then we're going to take the radius and bump it down all the way. Go to the next frame, which is right there. I'm going to come down here and I'm going to open up the effects, CC light rays, just so I can see all the keyframing down here at the bottom of the screen as well. All right. So now we're going to take that effect and we're going to bring it up to the top here. And let's bring the radius up to, let's go 10. Yeah, that's good. 10 is good. Let's bump the intensity up. Let's leave it at 100 actually. All right. So now we're going to go to the next frame. Drag it up to the top of the wand. And now we're going to increase the radius to 20. All right, so the wand is now glowing a lot brighter with a bigger circle. Let's bump the intensity up to 150 now. Warp softness can remain the same for right now. And next frame. Drag it up to the top of the wand. Let's bring the radius up to 30. There we go. Warp softness can remain the same. Intensity, let's bring it up to 165. Okay, so at this point you can pause the video and just keep going through frame by frame until you get to the left-hand side of the screen. And now, this is where it's going to get tricky. Because the video is not overlapping on this left side here like it was on the bottom and the top, if I drag this light orb to the edge of the screen, it creates a harsh edge. So what we're going to have to do is drag it to the edge of the screen so that the light goes all the way up and down like it should be normally. But what we're going to do now is just raise the warp softness up to about around 230, give or take a few. And then we're going to bump the radius up a tad bit.
There we go. Drag it there.
Alright, so now it still looks like it's coming off the end of the wand. Next frame, same thing. Drag it down. And let's bump the intensity up to 175. Give it a really nice intensity to it now. So now it's a nice bright orb there. At this point again, you're going to pause the video and go through frame by frame. Alright, we're going to bring the radius to 50. Bring down the warp softness to about 80. Alright, so now we've got this nice bright orb here on the edge. And we're just going to keep moving it off the screen like this. Bring this to the end of the wand more still. So what I'm doing now is just continuing to move the light orb from the end of the wand towards the edge of the screen, frame by frame, so you can pause the video again here, until you get to the edge of the screen. Alright, so now that we're at the edge of the screen, we're going to take the slider and go all the way to the end of the clip. Right there. The end of the clip's at 116. We're going to move the spell up a tad bit. And we're going to bump the intensity down. And raise the warp softness up to 130. Alright, now let's watch it. Boom. Okay. So, now we got to go back to the beginning of this clip. We're going to go come down, we're going to go new, and we're going to go solid. Okay. So now we've got a solid layer over top. Now we're going to come over here to the effects side to generate advanced lightning, and we're going to put it on. we're going to come over here to the top left, right here, to lightning type. And we're going to change it to bounce. You can adjust it by moving these two dots. We have to change the color. So we're going to come down here, core settings and glow settings. We're going to change glow setting to a more darker purple tone. And we're going to change the core to purple. And I'm going to have to go through and keyframe all of the settings for this effect. Alright, so we want the lightning to be about here at the end of the wand. Right like that. We're going to change them to 0 for right now. Then we're going to move frames, drag it up to the end of the wand. So we're just over top of the light orb. We're going to change the core opacity to 50 and glow opacity to 25. Drag it to the next frame. Bring it up to the end of the wand. Play around with it until you get a circular object like that. We're going to increase the alpha obstacle a bit. Give it a little bit of turbulence. Now this just comes around with a lot of playing with it. I like to keep the complexity at about 7. That gives it more of a ball shape to it. We're going to bump down the glow radius. Let's go 35. Let's turn the core opacity down to 45. Core radius down to, let's make it 1.5. So a lot of it is just playing around with it. Obviously that's still a little bit massive looking. So we're going to bump down the opacity. Let's go 10. And then the core opacity, 20. Alright, so now you see it's just a little bit of a ball coming at the end. We're going to bring down the core drain to 1%. Gives it that still coming in look. Put the forking up to 30. 50%. Decay at 43. Fork strength is you want them to be, that makes the forks look pop out on the screen more. Fork variation, we want them to vary it quite a lot. So 30. Next frame. Drag them up here. Obviously you're not going to see them right now, but it's just going to make the movement more real as it changes. Alright, so you can see down here at the bottom now. Right here you can see a tad bit of the lightning coming through. Alright, now over here you should see some of the lightning peek through. Let's make it peek out right here. Conductivity state, that just gives it variations in the state of it. Makes it jump all over the place. So you're just going to find something like that. So this just looks like a little bit of the lightning is falling off. Turn the glow opacity up to, let's go 20. And the core opacity to 45. Alright, bring down the glow radius to 30. Bump down the alpha obstacle to 2.8. Alright, so now we can just see a little tidbit of lightning coming on the screen. The decay is at a good spot. Complexity is at a good spot. Minimum forking distance. This is going to adjust how long the forks look. So right there, I like that. A lot of it just comes around with playing with it and finding stuff you like. Next frame. Alright, so we're going to have to jump it all the way down here. And bring it onto the frame. Play with the conductivity state till we find something that we like. Again, you can pause the video now as I'm going to keep moving the lightning frame by frame until I get to 0.00.00.23, and then you can resume the video again. Next frame, just play with the conductivity state. I like that one. Let's change the forking strength to 100%. Fork variation up to 58. Turn the forking up to 70. Decay down to 35. Turn the glow or the core opacity down to 40. Turn the glow radius to 25. There. Sort of play around with the settings till you start getting something that you like. Move it forwards a little more. Alright, so now we're going to have to make the lightning appear like it's flying off the screen as well. And to do that, we're just going to play with the settings until I get it in the center. Let's go decay it with main core unselected, and we'll decay it to 36. Drag it to the next frame, make it look like it's getting off the screen. Move the conductivity till it looks like it's off screen, there, like that. And then next frame, we're gonna bump the core opacity down to 13 and the glow opacity down to 5. Next frame, bring them down to 0. And let's watch the clip. Boom, it flies off the screen with it. Alright, so that's good enough for right now. We're going to come here. Boom. Open this up. Open the effects up. So the keyframe's at 0. We're going to move to the next frame. Manually keyframe everything. To manually keyframe everything, you just click these little dots on the left hand side here and that'll keyframe it all. We're going to go to the next frame. And we're going to bring in the lights. So we're going to bring it down to here. And we're going to bump it up. We're going to have to raise the intensity up. Let's raise the intensity to, let's start at 60. And then bump it up to 80. And then to 150. Alright, so now we've got the light coming in again. We're going to bring the warp softness down about 50. Alright, so now we can see that the spell is there. And now we're going to drag it along till we see him bring the wand to there. Alright, so let's put it about there at the end of his wand. Let's come back to the beginning here. Let's raise the radius 61. And now, as we get to the center here, we'll drop it down to 50. That way, it gives the effect like it's getting closer to him. Alright, so flies through. When it gets here, and he does that first flick, we are going to bump the intensity up to 250. So it's really bright. And we're going to bump the radius up to 100. That way we get a nice bright flash. And the warp softness also up to 100. So it's going to make it look like it's flashing. Next frame. Bump the radius up to 200. Full frame of the screen. And then we're going to bring the radius or the intensity down to 0. Just so you can see what that looks like. It's going to come in. Boom. Flashes. Makes it look like he's deflecting it. Alright, so bring it back to the beginning of the clip till we see right about there. And we're going to have to create a new layer. We're going to go up to the top. We're going to go layer, new, solid. Okay, so I'll just put a layer over top of what we already have in. And then we're going to go to generate, advanced lightning, drag and drop it onto the layer. Come over to the advanced lightning settings on the left hand side of the screen. We're going to change it from direction to bouncy. It has come to the point again where you can pause the video, as I'm just going to move the lightning frame by frame, adjusting all of its features to make sure that it looks good until it gets to just before it hits Osric's wand. Once you get to that point, you can resume the video. Alright, so now this next frame, so we're going to reduce the decay to 0.39. That's going to bring it up more. We're going to increase the size of it. So the minimum fork distance, we're going to bump that up to 200. Termination threshold, we're going to turn that down a bit. Core drain, we're going to leave that at 0. Fork strength, all the way up at 100%. Fork variation, all the way at 100%. Forking, all the way at 100%. We are going to change our core radius, 3 actually. And we're going to change our glow radius to 40. And we're going to change the glow opacity to 50. And the code opacity to 60. Now that's just going to be a single frame of flash. Then, next frame, we're going to bring the opacity down for the core to 40. And then for the glow, we're going to bring it down to 30. And then we're going to go to the next frame. And we're going to turn it all the way down to 0. Boom. Just like that. So we're going to save it. Let's watch it. So, actually what I forgot to do here was at this frame here, we're going to open up the effects menu, because if I don't keyframe this first shot, the if I don't keyframe this lightning is just going to remain on there the entire clip. So we're going to go into the effects panel, open up advanced lightning. We're going to add in we're going to come down to, where is it, the glow settings, to the opacity, and we're going to set it to 0. And then the glow settings, find the opacity, keyframe it, set it to 0. There we go. Okay. Now we're just going to hide this for right now and bring it here. Boom. Okay. So now comes the fun part. We're going to come to project files. We're going to find the field we like. So first we're going to use this field, field number 3. And we're going to drag and drop it. We're going to right click it. Blending mode. We want to add it. So what I'm doing now is just simply lining up the smoke with Owen's wand to make the effect look like it's a field. So what we're going to do now, we're going to close generate. We're going to go to the search bar on the right hand side of the screen under FX and presets and type in tint. And we're going to see where it says color correction right here, and take tint and drag and drop it over top of the footage. So what we're going to do is map from white to blue. Bam. There's that force field. We're going to go back over to the project files here on the left hand side of the screen. Okay, so here's the project files, and we're going to come here and find one of the hits that we like. So I like to combine this shot of this field with that other field. So we get to see this nice one. All right, so what we're going to do is drag and drop. Now we're just going to make sure that this is over top of field 3. What you have to do now is just simply line up the two shots so that the inside smoke lines up with the outside shield. Alright, what I am going to have to do is create a clipping mask. So what I'm going to do is shut off the background and only have the two fields. So as soon as we see this first force field show in, we're going to create a clipping mask. So we're going to come up to the top left, to the shape tool, and pick the ellipse tool. Alright, now that we have the ellipse tool selected, what we are going to do is create an ellipse inside this force field. Now we have to make sure that the mask is fitting on the inside of the first field. So what we're going to do is just stretch out the mask until it's reaching that outer edge, but then we're going to have to keyframe every single aspect of this mask in order to create a moving mask. And then I'm going to go through frame by frame and keep stretching out the mask to make sure that each frame, the inside field is matching up with the outside field. Now, just what I did with the last force field, I'm going to go over to the effects menu, go into color correction, and change the tint to another blue color to match the same blue that the outside force field has. We're going to come back over to the project menu, and we're going to select one of those hits. Hits and smoke set. Okay, so I'm personally going to use hit 5. That's a personal preference. You can use whatever hit you'd like. Same thing, we're going to drag it down, drop it above field 5. What I'm doing now is lining up the shot of the smoke with the force fields, as well as going into layer, style, and add in order to add the smoke over top of the shields, just like I did with the shields to the actual footage. So now we have to time map the hit so that it is faster. So what we're going to do is right click, go to time, enable time remapping. Alright, so now what this just did is, if you can see here, is on this clip, it gave me one keyframe down here at the bottom right, and one keyframe down here at the bottom left. Now what I can do is this allows me to speed up the clip by adjusting this back one. So obviously we want the smoke to be decently fast. So now I'm just going to line up the clips so that the smoke hits at the same time that the flash goes off. To there. Okay, so now let's take a look at this after we save. Alright, so project saved, let's watch it. She tosses the smell, and boom. And finally, just like before, we're going to go in to the color correction and tint it, but this time instead of blue, we're going to tint it to a nice purple. Alright, so now to finish off this tutorial, I'm going to show you how this effect will be put into Premiere. So, all you have to do is save it, which I've already done. But for you, you can hit Command Save if you're on a Mac, or Control Save if you're on a PC. And you're going to downgrade the screen. And what should have happened is it automatically should have linked in to your timeline. So just to show you what happened, it'll link in. I've already rendered it to save you guys time of watching, but it's in, and now watch how smooth it looks. boom, and boom. Now obviously in this clip there is zero sound effects at all because in the video that I posted, for the actual video I had to record a lot of the sound myself and I had to get special permission for the sounds I used. So obviously I couldn't provide you with those. But obviously if you wanted to make this look a lot nicer and if you wanted to show a teacher or something, you can download your own sound effects and place them in the timeline here to match with the video. Alright, that's all I have for you guys. Thanks for tuning in and thanks for doing this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope it might have helped you at all. This is Ragnar111 aka Koldin signing out.